Marketplace Academy was actually started in 2020, and it was started as a skills development company. So it was within the communities where we offer, and they wanted it to be a skills development entity for the community. And it was then said to me, I'd retired from my professional career with the South African Institute of Chartered Accountants, and I was given the opportunity to take it and to say, well, what exactly am I going to do with it? We don't have a vision and a mission statement. We're very, very clear. We have a purpose statement. And our purpose statement is to change communities, to bring about economic hubs, and to ensure that the unemployed youth become part of the mainstream economy. In terms of our model, you need anchor partners. And we have to define what an anchor partner is, because there's a lot of people in the country who really want to do good. They don't know how to. And we say to everybody, don't write a check. Now, our anchor partners, we've called ourselves MINDI, Maths Initiative for the National Development of Youth. And all the auditing firms are involved, including the Auditor General. We are hoping to include the actuarial science professional bodies. We are hoping also to include the engineering professional body, EXA, because mathematics is universal. It affects all of our professions. I shared some of my dreams and I said to them, you work with us, but I want you to phase out maths literacy. Because maths literacy is a big problem in this country. You cannot even become an artisan. You can do no trade if you have maths literacy. So we said, what were we going to do? We're going to phase out maths literacy and we're going to go for pure mathematics. We're going to work with the learners. We're going to work with the educators. And later we will work with the unemployed youth. We've been very busy putting this in place, putting our anchor partners in place, and we explain to our partners, long haul. It's not a once-off. So you must think carefully. When you get into this partnership, it's long haul. We're working together. Agriculture, tunnels. I've got this thing about tunnels at the schools, that we get the learners to start doing it as part of agriculture, growing food, feeding, supplying the community, money for the school. What we are looking for, particularly in agriculture, is exactly the same as in hospitality and culinary, micro-credentialing. So they would do agricultural science or agricultural technology at schools. It's a school subject. Got to train the educators. But then they also do alongside that the occupational program where they get NQF qualification at a level 2, 3 and 4, which equates obviously to a trick. So that's where the multi-certification program comes in. So they leave with that as well. Or that in ICT, we're very excited. Amazon has agreed to train all our youngsters on cloud computing. This school of ours, Wisrand, is also hospitality, which means catering. For each of our sectors we chose, we now need to have these anchor partners in place. Entrepreneurship, Investec, and what we're doing is we're working closely with Future Nations College, and they are developing courseware that integrates with our technical and occupational programs, such as plumbing. Plumbing, our anchor partner is Sasol, and we are doing plumbing in 5 schools, because they asked us specifically for 2 of their schools, and one can understand the areas they operate in, but then also we can do it in our schools. So in Reiger Park and the Katlehong area. So their schools are particularly John Hall, Ekangala, Katlehong School of Specialisation, and the 2 schools in Reiger Park. You've got to have civils as a subject, and we bridge the gap between industry standard and what does it mean to be a plumber. That by the time the youngsters leave, they've got a matric certificate and they have another certificate. I'm a junior plumber. And if I carry on a little longer, I can get my red seal. Because what we want to do in the communities, start little plumbing businesses. They can fix toilets, they can fix water pipes, they can do a lot of work with their own little businesses while at school. That's why entrepreneurship becomes so critical. The same for agriculture. My biggest dream is to see the small little businesses starting up in townships where it will add value and the youngsters will be self-employed or be massively employable, not what we're sitting with now where they actually are illiterate and innumerate. And that's why the schools have become so important, and it's such an important ground. We have decided to also, once we're settled and we've got all the facilities at the schools, to open it up for the unemployed youth. I want to change communities, focus of communities, and deal with unemployment, because we haven't actually solved the issue of unemployment in our country. We haven't. There's a lot of unemployed youngsters. They could have completed their matric, or they stepped out of the system. So you've got the youngsters who've got a matric and are unemployed, and then you have youngsters who left at grade 10 and decided they hated school. The problem is our education system has failed them. There's no arguments about it. In fact, we failed all the unemployed youth. Personal mastery is critical. Even when we ran out the Tuku programs, it was that wraparound support, dealing with the softer issues of the learners. And it's motivation, attitude. Lots of children don't have very great attitudes. And what does an attitude mean to your success? We work with the youngsters around friends. So it's looking after the wholeness of the individuals, and that there's a youth coach that they can go and speak to if they've got a problem. One of our big partners, Motus, fabulous partner, resource centers. Children cannot read and write. So they put up a beautiful resource center at Oosrand. They don't normally do high schools, but what we are now working with Motus saying, well, let's do the high schools in our little communities, but can we also do the feeder schools? So we're looking at doing the feeder schools, which means the primary schools. When you get into this partnership, it's long haul. We're working together. Motus, working very closely with Kotlong School of Specialisation. Now, I'm learning a lot about the trades. So if you think of Motus, motor mechanics, or they've all got different names now. So they are taking the training centres, which when they take the youngsters from school at an NQF level 4, they're breaking it down into NQF level 2, 3 and 4, where we can actually build a pipeline of motor mechanics at the schools. And then when they leave school, they've got a matric certificate, they part, and they can immediately enter into learnership. They know what they're doing. So those are the kind of partnerships we're looking at wherever we're going. But the other thing that I've also realized, leadership. You've got to work with the principals. They must be committed. The senior management team must be invested in this, and everybody must make it work. So my experience, my short experience with Oosrand, we've got a maths and a science teacher, and she has taken on the agricultural project like you can't believe. She'll obviously be now our agricultural educator.